Oftentimes when I'm coaching leaders, they come up with all these things around, we are having challenges with customer churn. There's so many targets, we are doing a lot of number crunching, we are in the boardrooms, we are required to work in and out of work. Work becomes work that you almost forget yourself. And then you ask them, okay, so what is the issue with this churn? They say, you see, we are doing a lot with the sales team to bring in the numbers, but no sooner do the numbers come in, than then we lose the ones that we have. Okay, so one of such executives is my relative. She lost a business that seemed to be burdened because of a number of challenges that I got to know when we sat down to get into the what's, when, how of this CX anomaly, or how could a business collapse. And guess what? In our first discussion, she was all defensive, as a CEO, I did my best. I did all I could do, I had the best MD and all that. But as time goes on, she started this self-realization. And she said, wait a minute. I think there were some things we didn't do right. And guess what was among the top things that failed this company? You guessed right, customer experience. Whenever I talk to leaders like you around coaching, around performance, and you hear this leader saying, I have a very nasty team, they have this attitude, they have all this, I'm like, watch this one. Because at the end of the day, you are the leader, So you're busy sucking up to the boss, you're busy working 24/7, you're busy doing all these amazing things, but wait a minute, you're forgetting your team. And as busy as you're trying to run helter-skelter, pleasing the boss, they are busy planning your downfall and doing everything possible. Where does the rubber hit the tarmac? What is customer experience? It's right in front of our eyes. Customer experience starts with you. As a marketer, how do you take care of yourself? Because you can't give from an empty cup. And after taking care of yourself, what do people say about you when you leave the room? More importantly, what would the janitor say? What would the cleaner in your company say? What would the askari say? But then what would your peers say? Because you have done a phenomenal job. Many of you are in senior leadership or, mid-level management, and well done. To get there, it takes your solo performance. But what is going to move you from there to the C-suite is your relations, is your customer experience. And you're going to be grumbling, saying, you know what, I provide the numbers and all this, but why has this person been taken for the job? And she knows nothing. She is good at people relations. Every time we think of the customer and think they are from planet Mars, we miss the point. So who is the customer? The customer are human beings. The customer are emotional beings. People who get angry. People who have families. And the most important thing is that the first customer is the employee. That's why you realize companies run about doing all these, so many things, but the employees are busy working against this company, ladies and gentlemen. So with that introduction, hello? Hello. Are we together? Yes. Some tough love in there? Because I know we all want to succeed in life, right? You're not here forever at the level that you're at. Duh! You want to go to that boardroom and, hello? Yeah, but you start with yourself. You start with those courageous decisions where you talk to your boss and say, what more can I do? I've done so much on this. Okay? So that said, what happened to this CXPs? Customer experience are thoughts, perceptions. Meaning, you may be so good as a leader, but until your customers, the people who report to you, say you're good, you are not good. And they may say you're good today and tomorrow they say you're bad. So it's about how do you massage their emotions by looking beyond the obvious. How many of you know the children's names of the people who report to you? How many of you know your peers? So that they can tell you, I had a miscarriage, I'm going through hard times, but I want you to hold my hand. I'm behaving like this, but I broke up with my boyfriend. I'm behaving like this, trying to make everything seem so rosy in the boardroom, but I'm using antidepressants. Because that's the typical thing. When people start telling you from their gut, when they can trust you with that, when you start touching people's hearts, then you start touching your own. Now when we move to the employee, when we start doing that for our customers, then we are talking. Hello? Hello. Are we together? Hard truths, eh? So, this customer experience piece was something that was at the peripheral until recently, very recently, when IBM published a report called The Customer what was the report called? Well done, good trial. The customer enterprise. And in that report, they interviewed over 4,000 C-suite executives. And they were asking them, what are the top 3 things you think are going to define the business in the next 5 years? And guess what came up? 1, pioneer digital experience, work with collaboration, and my favorite, institute meaningful and delightful experiences. So let's dwell a bit on the word delightful. Delightful means you go beyond the expected. Let me bring it down to work. You're there, you want a promotion, you want this, and then you go to the, your line manager and you're saying, you asked me to deliver 100, I delivered 100. Well done. What was expected of you 100? You delivered what? 100. So what do you expect? Things start happening at 101%. Now, let me give an example. Have you ever been there, those of you who are employed, and you go like, when HR smiles, you get that message or the email from HR for your salary, monthly salary. But wow, I'm so excited, my monthly salary. Nobody does that, because it's expected, isn't it? Yes. So, delight means what do you do other than what is expected from you. Both translate it to your direct reports, because they expect you always to be so busy, you talk to them without even opening your mind because you're in your laptop. When you start listening, then they say, wow, John is different. Sharon is different. She listens to you. And when you give her your idea, she doesn't steal it. I've found that so many times. Somebody gives you their idea, you were boss for crying out loud. The least you can do is tell the bosses that, okay, this idea came from, Liz. But then you own the idea and this person, you try to keep them down there. So, survival is part of life. You know what they do? They make it their agenda to get you out, because human survival is just like that. We can't work together, I'll get you out. And just a secret for you leaders, you do not know who the people you're working with are. You look at this little girl at the reception, you don't know how much influence she has in the boardroom. Hello. For this little boy, and for you, you're busy because you arrived as a boss. And things are just going to the boardroom immediately. And before you know it, when MBM comes laying off people, who is on the first list? So be nice. That is where customer experience starts from. Be nice. We all can fit in the same place. That is where customer experience comes from. Collaboration. Instead of, getting fixated over competitor activity and you obsess about competition, make friends with competition, because then you can even get the insights that, there are smarter ways of doing things. So after IBM coming up with this report, there is a company called Salesforce. It wanted to find out, okay, why should we really go into this customer experience piece? It interviewed 1,927 C-suite executives across the world and asked them price, product, and customer experience. Please rate them. At 46% was customer experience, at product 33%, and 24% came. Oh, please clap for yourselves, you're following. Guys, please clap for yourselves, we are in this together. I'm very impressed, you're an amazing audience. So when that happened, the world was in awe. People said, what is happening? This thing must be real. So, right about 2011, another research was done to find out really, is it true that customer experience is the one thing that can lead you to greatness in your business? And yes, 95% of your business relies on your customer experience. You may be very good at technology, but without the right customer experience, you are gone. Because one, you have internal customers fighting you. Usually it starts from internal customers. Because if I want to purchase something from Agri, who works in X company, I'll need to go to another person to find out how that company works, isn't it? So when I go to that person, they're like, don't try our company, you see us, but I'm also exiting. And guess what? Those people never leave. Every day, those people who every year they are leaving. They never leave, but if you see them, put on your sneakers and run. Because like I told you, walls have ears. They may be saying all that, and for you, the day you chip in a word is the day somebody takes that, So, once that was done, everybody started really trying to understand how do they harness the CX piece. But more importantly, how do you convince chief finance officers that customer experience or the call center or customer service is not a cost center? We've been doing a a lot of NPS, VOC. Now is the time to start moving into CES, Customer Effort Score, because what the Customer Effort Score does for you, it tells you in depth what is the kind of smoothness, for lack of a better word, that your customer goes through to interact with you. And when you go through the pains they go through, you wake up. Now is the time to shift from customer journeys to life journeys. And we have companies that have started this because we are emotional beings. Think of that boss that you loved. Were they the best technically? But they understood you to the extent that you opened up to them. When you look at life journeys, we are saying, how do you partner with this customer so that they realize you're not ripping them off? This is a bank, for example, but they are helping me with my financial literacy. Since I started working with this bank, I've started saving more because they guide me that for your kind of earnings, this is what happens. Customers to debt are sometimes even more knowledgeable about you than you know about your companies. Hello? So if you go wisecking, they're like, look at this one. Because they go on the net and find out all this, so you can no longer hoard information. So what can you do? You work with them. And as I said, the first customer is the first customer right near you, after yourself, of course. There is no coaching session, there is no company I've worked with where I don't find people who have either worked with before or people who have recommended me to some company. Borrowing Sharon's word of mouth is very, very important. How do you turn your peers into your organic brand ambassadors so that you don't have to do even an interview? It's idiot proof that you are the most supportive in addition to your competence, because most people are competent. Most people have MBAs. When I'm talking to my MBA students, I tell them that. What else do you bring to the table? Everyone has a degree, so what? Duh. And that is customer experience. So for starters, whenever you hear yourselves talking about the customer service department, the marketing department, the HR, you are still in customer service. Customer experience is organizational, with the MD holding that flag. Customer experience is looking at the entirety of the journey. How do we appeal to people before they even join us? Customer experience is not reactive. Every time you're running helter-skelter, there is this tweet, please put it down, there is this on Facebook. You start chasing. That is customer service. Customer experience is when you sit down and start pre-pruning. What can we do so that we don't have this? Customer experience is when you stop blame games and say we are all an organization, we hold ourselves together. Because everyone watches the cohesion that you have. So now is the time to start moving into customer experience. So that you as a marketer, the customer experience champion, when you talk, people are not like, she's just paying lip service, but going to her office, you must pray the rosary. You know, there are people who, before you talk to them, you have to align yourself, and that does not encourage creativity. people should be running, everyone thinking the most underutilized resource in companies is customers. Who are the employees? Because guess what? When the company messes up, usually there are people who will say, hey, because these people are the customers, they know what is happening in the market. But you don't ask them, you have a few people who run about, and you're like, it's okay. So how do you as a leader work with people so that they start telling you all these things? Customer experience starts from you taking care of yourself. Customer experience is about the influence that you have.